During the turbulent times of World War II, the global stage saw both the brutality of warfare and the resilience of human spirit. However, amidst the vast narratives of courage and sacrifice, there lie darker tales, stories that unravel the grim realities faced by many German soldiers during and in the aftermath of the conflict. Today, we'll explore the distressing and often overlooked episodes of horrific executions that befell some of these soldiers, offering a sobering glimpse into the severe repercussions of war. To begin with, it's vital to recognize the complex web of motivations and sentiments that characterize the era. The end of World War II was marked by a fractured Europe, a continent grappling with the remnants of a devastating conflict. In the eyes of the Allies, achieving justice was paramount. For many, retribution against the horrors perpetrated by the Nazi regime seemed justified. And in this charged atmosphere, the line between justice and vengeance often blurred. One must delve into the fates of German soldiers captured on foreign soil. Stories of extrajudicial killings were not uncommon. In Eastern Europe, particularly within the territories occupied by the Soviet Union, German soldiers often met grim fates. The Soviet forces, having suffered immense losses during the war, were particularly unforgiving. There are accounts of soldiers being summarily executed in retaliation for the atrocities committed by the Nazi regime on Soviet lands. This cycle of violence, driven by deep-seated anger and grief, led to countless German soldiers thus meeting their end farther from home. One haunting story is that of the so-called werewolf insurgents. Towards the war's end, remnants of the Nazi Party attempted to organize guerrilla units, named after the mythical creature known for its savagery. These units aimed to continue resistance against the advancing Allied forces. However, when captured, suspected werewolf operatives faced immediate and harsh reprisals. With Allied forces unwilling to take risks with potential insurgents, executions were carried out swiftly, often without trials. Furthermore, the plight of German prisoners in the hands of various resistance movements across occupied Europe paints a grim picture. For local populations who had suffered under Nazi occupation, the capture of German soldiers provided a grim opportunity for revenge. In France, Italy, and Yugoslavia, reports surfaced of summary executions carried out by partisan groups. These acts of vengeance, while understandable in the context of the suffering endured, added to the cycle of brutality that war inevitably promulgates. Amidst these incidents, it is crucial to recognize the broader context of the time. The Nuremberg trials and various military tribunals set out to punish those responsible for war crimes, but the sheer scale of the conflict left many lower-ranking soldiers vulnerable to accusations. Often, these individuals were caught in a web of reprisals that saw justice replaced by swift and unforgiving retribution. These stories are not to undermine the grave crimes committed by the Axis powers during the war, nor to draw a false equivalence with the systematic atrocities orchestrated by the Nazi regime. Instead, they serve as reminders of war's insidious nature, how it dehumanizes not only its victims, but also its perpetrators, creating an environment where humanity's darkest instincts can flourish unchecked. In analyzing these grim events, we must reflect on their broader implications. They underscore the importance of distinguishing between justice and vengeance, highlighting the need for legal frameworks and due process even in the aftermath of conflict. The lessons drawn from these stories of horrific executions urge us to seek paths of reconciliation and healing, rather than punishment and retribution, in the face of shared historical trauma. In closing, the tale of horrific executions of German soldiers during World War II reminds us of the harsh realities hidden beneath the surface of great historical events. They urge us to consider the moral complexities that arise in the shadow of conflict, urging us to remember that in the theater of war, every act of violence begets another, creating endless cycles of suffering. As we look back on these times, may we strive for a world where such dark chapters are relegated to history, never to be repeated.